Hey everyone, happy Friday, and welcome to another Facebook Live. I hope everyone had a good week and got some good work done, some good family time, some good time outside, some good exercise, enjoyed some good food. Last week before Thanksgiving here in the States next week, so be celebrating that next week. So I don't know about you, but I'm starting to prepare my turkey this weekend. I got to take it out of the freezer and let it defrost and brine it and all that fun stuff. So I think I'm probably gonna take it out of the freezer tomorrow, start letting it defrost in the fridge, and get all that fun stuff going. So I'm excited for that. I hope everyone is going to at least try and celebrate that holiday in some normal fashion, in a safe and healthy way, however you see fit doing that. So can't wait to talk to everyone next Friday about that. Um, but today I want to talk a little bit about kind of what it takes to be healthy and live a long time, um, because I speak a lot about optimizing your lifestyle, diet, exercise, that type of stuff for athletic performance. It's something I'm particularly keen in, something I'm trying to do for myself. It's something I like to research a lot about. I like to work with athletes. I'm an athlete myself, but I also at the same time realize that not everyone has those same goals, and not everyone really cares about their athletic performance, and that they care about just living a healthy lifestyle for as long as they possibly can. And it's actually something that I think quite a bit about as well. I have two kids and a wife, and so I obviously want to be around for them for a long time. And I know that I'm not going to be, um, chasing athletic goals forever. So I also don't want to chase athletic goals that would decrease my health and longevity. So I'm conscious about kind of straddling that fine line of um, trying to push my body to limits to see how well I can perform, but also um, doing it in a fashion that doesn't sacrifice my health. So I wrote an article this week, or a blog post. If you didn't check it out, check it out. It's about walking. And comparing it to the lack of movement, kind of drawing a connection between that and processed foods. Like, a lack of movement is kind of like the processed foods of movement and exercise, right? Um, when you think about diet, the worst thing you could possibly do is eat a bunch of processed foods. And so when you talk about movement and exercise, the worst thing you can do is, um, not move. And someone had asked me, commented on my blog post and said, if I'm just interested in health and longevity and living a long time and living as healthy as I possibly can, how much walking and movement do I really need to do? And it's an interesting question. It's not something that I was really trying to address in that article, but I think that it is, this minimum effective dose of movement and exercise for just being healthy. Not looking to perform. You're not looking to run a race. You're not looking to lift as much weight as you possibly can. You're not looking to do anything besides just be a healthy person. What is the minimum amount of movement and exercise that you really need to do, right? Because people have other interests, right? They don't want to spend their time in the gym. They don't want to spend more time than they have to, forcing themselves to go out on walks and whatnot. But so what's the minimum, right? And it's hard to say, right? Because every person is going to be different, as far as what they can get away with, and as far as movement and exercise. And some people are going to build and put on muscle more easily than other people, and some people might just be able to walk a little bit less than others, and so it's going to be slightly different, right? And it takes some experimentation. There's some certain things that you can look at to say, okay, how am I, you know, how is my health at this state, right? At this stage, right? What things might I want to improve, and what things are actually okay. So in general, I think I recommend um, people to do two things when it comes to movement and exercise, right? And that is do at least 2 days a week of some type of strength training. I think that's important. It doesn't have to be, crazy strength training where you're, deadlifting and squatting and bench pressing and I think those things are all great things to do. I think that everyone should be able to do some type of squat, some type of hinge movement, and be able to do those things. There's basic human patterns, but just doing 30 to 40 minutes of strength training a day, depending on where you're starting from. If you're starting from a completely detrained state, you might even do less, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on where you're starting from and how deconditioned you might be. But doing some type of strength training to build and at least maintain muscle mass is probably the number one thing that you can do for health and longevity, because it's going to do a couple things, right? We know muscle is going to decrease as you get older, and it's harder to put it on, it's harder to create it. Not to say that you can't, but it's just harder, and it starts to go away as you age. So putting on muscle now while you're younger, or trying to maintain the muscle that you do have when you're older, is critically important, because that's what's going to prevent you from falling, prevent you from not being able to play with your grandkids, prevent you from not being able to just do basic everyday things like walking up and down the stairs, or getting up out of a chair, or putting away your groceries, or bringing in your groceries, or just doing basic everyday life movements without the assistance of anything else, right? So strength training and be able to maintain muscle and movement is critically important for that. So I think that's probably the number one thing I would suggest you do. When it comes to movement, and the other thing, the other thing that I just do is just move, you know, throughout the day, um, and every day, right? So you're strength training 2 days a week, but every single day you're moving around. And I think the easiest way to quantify that is via steps, because that's, a lot of everything we have can quantify steps, whether it's a watch or a ring, or just your phone can calculate how many steps you're taking. Um, and yeah, it's not accurate, it's not perfect, it's not going to be the end all be all of quantifying movement. Like, for example, if you squat 1,000 times a day, just doing body weight squats, your activity tracker is not going to pick that up, but you're doing a lot of movement, right? So it's not perfect in every situation, but everyone can walk, everyone can move around. They have two legs for the most part. So walking and tracking steps is probably the best thing you can do as far as quantifying how much you're moving. And so shooting for around 8 to 10,000 steps a day is probably optimal for most people. You can do more. There's going to be a ceiling as to how much benefit you're actually going to get from doing more. So I think there's some research around going over like 15,000 steps, and you start to see things kind of plateau. You go over 15,000 steps, you're probably not going to get much more out of that, right? Even from a caloric burns perspective, like you stop burning calories. And there's obviously a minimum as well. So, if you get, a few days of 8,000 steps, a few days of 6,000 steps, and you're averaging around 7 to 8,000 steps a day, that's probably good enough, right? So I'd like to see people at least above 7,000 steps. But, not every day is going to be perfect. So just shoot for around there. And if you can get to that point, I think you're pretty good from a health and longevity point of view, from a movement point of view. And I also think that I'd like to encourage people to every once in a while challenge themselves in some way for movement. And that could be like extending out your walks. So go on a really long walk, 5 miles at a time or something like that. And obviously build yourself up to that. Throw in some hills into your walks. Make your walks like a little bit more challenging. Go a different way that's a little bit more challenging. Go on a hike. Hikes are just like walking, but a lot harder. And so go out in nature, and there's just tons of benefits doing that. So occasionally go out and challenge yourself, and maybe sometimes that might look like some high intensity sprints, or intervals of some kind, or something like that, if you really feel up to it. But just challenge yourself, go outside your comfort zone when you feel really good every once in a while. And I think that's going to do wonders for your health and longevity, um, from a movement point of view as well. Now, obviously, we can talk about a whole bunch of other things around diet, around sleep, and stress management, and all that stuff that's going to, um, uh, you know, extend your life and allow you to live the healthiest life as you possibly can. But I don't really think those things really change that much from a uh, someone who's just looking for health and longevity versus someone who's looking for performance. You might need a little bit more sleep if you're really looking to, um, on the pushing the performance side of it for recovery. You might need to switch up your diet a little bit. Obviously the diet of an athlete, that's working out 6 to 7 days a week, a few hours a day, is going to be a lot different than someone who's working out 2 days a week and walking the rest of the time. But it's a whole different discussion. It's too long for this video, so I just wanted to focus on the movement stuff. But the stress management stuff, getting outside, sunlight, social connection, all that stuff still applies, right? To you, whether you're an athlete or you are just looking for health and longevity. So you can look back at my other videos for more information on that stuff too. So that's what I want to talk about this week. As always, appreciate any feedback you have, so please throw some comments on the video. Have any questions or anything like that, please let me know. You can always direct message me too if you want to comment on the video, either here on Facebook or on Instagram. And if you want to get these Facebook Lives as well as the blog posts delivered to your inbox every week, you can go and sign up for my newsletter. To do that, you go to rjbhealth.coach, and right at the top there's a newsletter link where you can click and enter your email address, sign up for that. If you're interested in any kind of coaching or need a little bit more one-on-one attention, please feel free to reach out. There's a form you can fill out on my webpage, right on the home page, to schedule a discovery call. Fill that form out, I'll get an email about it, and we can talk a little bit more. And yeah, that's about it. That's all I got. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend, and you do something fun this weekend and start preparing for your own Thanksgivings. And yeah, I'll talk to everyone next Friday. Have a good week.